Give me advice.
Hey, Dmitry, would you do me a favor? It's kind of like a soft close. And they're like, yeah, I will. Fantastic.
You have a lot of online reviews. What's your secret? How do people review you?
Don't be boring. Seriously.
Exactly.
Seriously.
I agree.
I mean, I don't know how many times I could say it.
What's the secret in sales, branding versus sales? Like, how much should we talk about products?
They told me their problems, and I said I'm going to fix it right here, right now. And guess what? I'm going to give you money back because I didn't do my best job.
Ben, let's start with a history of your brand. And I want to, right from the beginning, jump into your family business side of this. I know your first hire was your dad.
Yep.
So is it still family business? And tell me everything I need to know from the first couple of weeks of Roof Tiger.
Yeah, that's right. Not Tiger Roofing. I worked for a bathroom remodeler for 3.5 years. I liked my job. When pandemic hit, I actually moved on for a short time, came back. When pandemic hit, I lost my job. I was literally on unemployment. I worked for a roofer for 2 weeks. And I basically, through a string of conversations, I found out the margins in roofing. And so I started watching YouTube videos about people in roofing. And I started researching local roofing companies that I respect. But I thought that I could do really well in the branding space, about marketing and branding.
So everybody was boring.
Yes. Don't be boring. Seriously.
Exactly.
Seriously.
I agree.
I mean, I don't know how many times I could say it. Do not name your company after your initials or your last name. Don't do it.
Unless you have cool last name.
Unless you have a really cool last name, yeah. If your nickname's like Turbo or something, don't do that. But so in college, I studied a subject called semiotics, which is a study of symbols and how they make us feel and act. So for instance, Dmitry, if I show you a symbol of an octagon that's red, what do you think?
I don't know.
An octagon, yes. Yeah. And what do?
Stop.
It's an action that is imposed from a symbol.
Visual hammer.
That's exactly right. So I actually studied abroad in India when I was in college and studied the semiotics of white skin in a foreign country that's not white. Very interesting because people treat you differently because they see something, they change their actions. So when you go to a branding perspective, what do you think of when you think of McDonald's, of Apple, of these major brands? There's certain things that we act on and think of so... So when you think about your brand, think about that. What do you want people to think? So when people see the tiger, I want them to think family, trust, responsibility, great quality, fierce, ferocious, all those kind of attributes. So take it back to my dad. I started thinking about these ideas post losing my job, essentially, and I was like, I think we can do this. I was in the shower one day. My dad used to call me Tiger when I was a kid. And I think of myself, I have a tattoo of a tiger on my leg and a squirrel on my arm. And I was thinking of company names, and I said, Fighting Squirrel Roofing, Squirrel Roofing, Roofing Squirrel. I'm dead serious. I was like, I think I'm going to do it. I had a logo created. And I was thinking, this is just not it. Like, squirrels can die by electrocution, So
they're annoying, too.
That's right. So I'm like, I got a tattoo of a tiger because the whole story, and I was like, Tiger Roofing Tiger. Roof Tiger. It's just got a feel to it. Roof
it has
Tiger.
Sound.
It's just powerful. People remember it. Yeah. I said, this is it. So I had a logo drawn up, created this from this jump, and then my dad and I both invested in the company. Hired him to start, hired Adam next, had all my friends quit their jobs and said, we're doing this.
How long did it take you from the idea to actually have an LLC and ready to do business?
June 16th, I had the idea. August 1st, I was open for business.
When did you sell your first roof?
July and August, so that's a month and a half. I sold my first roof before we were open.
Wow. $2.6 million in the first year in business.
That's right. So that first year in 2020, we did, I think, 700,000 in our first 4 months, and then 2.6 million in the year following.
Love it.
So,
and pretty much all success goes to Roof Tiger, like the brand. It's all branding, guys.
It's you know what it is? It's not just me though. It's my team behind us. This is not a me show. This is an us show, and I'm just a spearhead. Much like you cannot do what you do without the people behind you.
100%.
You lead the charge, but the people behind you actually really make it work. And so I'm no different. I'm obnoxiously loud in the marketplace and love to go fast as possible, but without my team behind me, I'm nothing. So
for all the roofers out there, What's the secret in sales, branding versus sales? Like, how much should we talk about products? How important is shingles? It's very little. Nobody wants to hear from you.
This is what I'd say you need to leverage your brand with materials is interview your local shingle companies and see which one will give you the most amount of money. If you're not being paid by your shingle manufacturer, you should be, with either credits, percentages back, or branding deals. These truck wraps, we had a percentage back from our shingle sponsor. And so it gave me the power to invest, to say these guys are kicking in some money too. So
you have a lot of online reviews. What's your secret? How do people review you? I mean, 160 reviews in such a short period of time.
Yep.
What's your secret there?
Diligence. Ask everyone every time, especially if they had a good experience.
Verbally, email, text?
It's text for sure, but I do a 2-step response. I'll text you and say, hey, Dmitry, would you do me a favor? It's kind of like a soft close. And they're like, yeah, I will. Fantastic. I'm going to send you a Google review link right now. Will you fill it out for me? Yes, I will. Send the link and have them fill it out. So if you did a good job and you built some rapport, ask them, will you do me a favor? And have them commit to it without them knowing. And then once they get to it, it's like, yeah. And then you send them the direct link. They tap on it, tap 5 stars. It's a 30-second transaction.
Unless they have Yahoo account.
Yeah, that's a problem. But Google is powerful medium. And so I'd say if you had 10 eggs in a basket, put 7 of them in Google. It will jumpstart your business.
Google is not going anywhere.
No, only getting bigger.
Yep.
Facebook, as we've talked about, I think is getting harder and harder to be good at. But Google, I think if you're diligent and you really pay attention.
Well, Google is in the business of search. If you want to be found, it's 90% of search.
Bam.
90%.
There you go.
Insane. How do you maintain 5-star rating?
I've had a couple 1-2-star reviews, and I immediately reached out to them, drove to their house, and said, hey, what happened? I want to talk to you. They told me their problems, and I said, I'm going to fix it right here, right now. And guess what? I'm going to give you money back because I didn't do my best job here. So I accepted responsibility. I would either...
How much money are we talking about? Like a couple
not
hundred
a small
bucks?
amount. And I don't...
What was big mistakes then?
It wasn't big mistakes. It was minor things that turned into bigger things because of bad communication. My fault. So I'd say Jocko Willink, extreme ownership.
Extreme ownership. Everything is your fault.
You own it. No matter what happened during the transaction, I think a lot of people run away from problems and say, that customer's crazy. No, they're not. You need to listen.
Is customers always right?
Not always, but most of the time.
Most of the time. Do you sell remotely? Like
I have not
Zoom
yet.
or...
I've done email. I've sold through email for business people especially, or through the phone, just to confirm contracts. People who just say, just give me a price and let's see if we can work it out. Especially if we use Roofer for every single job we do, so I can get accurate measurements.
Sure. Let's talk about solar, hot topic.
Yes.
What's going on in solar in Illinois right now?
Illinois is one of the hottest states in solar in the country because on top of the 26% federal tax incentive, the state of Illinois offers what's called an SREC, Solar Renewable Energy Credit. It's a cash payment to you to go solar. So basically we're seeing between 50 and 70% of the transaction paid for by federal and state incentives.
Wow.
It's massive.
But describe market on the receiving end, like who are the players? What is the competition? How do you do it?
You mean for local community?
Like in general? Like
No, I'm facing the same issues that I did with roofing, where you need to build your brand from the very bottom up. So I'm basically just rinsing and repeating the exact same process for Roof Tiger, flipping it to Solar Panther. If I could communicate one thing to any roofer watching this, is it's easy to penetrate the solar market if you already have roofing leads. Because those same people that want to buy your roofing product will also buy solar. So you just have to transition your speech from just roofing to roofing and solar. And I'm sure you know this, Dmitry, but the 26% federal tax break applies to both the solar and the roof. So if you
pair them together?
Correcto. You get 26% off both.
And it's cash deal here in Illinois?
Yes.
Wow.
So if you do a roof solar in Illinois, you're getting 26% off of both and the solar and the SREC.
Wow.
So it's big.
Why so many bad deals? Why so many complaints with the solars? Like I see more problems in the solar industry than in the roofing industry.
It's a higher ticket item, higher commission item, and nobody knows. The people that are purchasing the product do not understand it. You don't have a lot of educated buyers. And so when you have door knockers selling a product to people who don't necessarily understand the transaction, a lot of stuff can go wrong. So when you have dishonest people in the industry, which you turkeys out there, if you're watching this, don't do that. It's a recipe for bad news.
Give advice to the homeowner who's shopping for solar right now. What questions to ask, how to find a contractor who is legit.
Who is installing the deal? What company is installing the deal? Oftentimes, the person selling it to you is not working for the company installing it. It's a major difference. The percentage of the deal that's a dealer fee for solar. So I'm sure you understand that the solar financing programs are sometimes 20 and 25%. So if you borrow $50,000, 20% of that, that's $10,000 in financing fees.
Is it legal? Is it on borderline of legal? Because if you buy a $50,000 car, you know what's your interest rate and stuff. But people who buy 70,000, they don't understand that 20,000 is finance fees. They just think it's one deal.
Yes, you're right. They don't ask those questions, and it's really not explained as part of the
nobody
deal.
breaks it down.
Nobody breaks it down because if they did, people would be like, "What the heck is this?" You know?
Exactly.
So
it's unethical.
Hard. Yes, but solar's hard. If you don't pay your car note, guess what I can come do if you don't pay it?
A repo.
Take it back. Solar, there's not a lot of repoing. So it's more unregulated and businesses will...
Do you see leasing solar here?
Leasing, we have actually very cheap power in Illinois. So leasing is not a great option unless you have no tax liabilities. So if you don't have any income, or if you're a military vet, or if you're a person who's retired, a lease might make sense for you.
Your biggest surprise in the roofing business, something you didn't expect that it's going to be this way?
Gosh.
Good or bad?
Good or bad? Man.
What did you think is going to be easier?
Companies that I thought had their stuff together, I found out that I'm just like, in hearing your willingness to learn, I love learning. I watch a lot of YouTube. And if I'm interested in a topic, I research the crap out of it. When I meet with companies that have been in the industry for 10, 20, 30 years, and I feel like I have a better grasp on the insurance industry, it's like these people, I think that people don't do enough research a lot of times. And so maybe they just get used to doing business a certain way and don't understand the current trends in the marketplace. And I think us not coming from the roofing industry helps us because we're willing to figure out insurance. We're willing to figure out coatings. We're willing to figure out solar. Roofing companies are just like, I don't do that. I'd say keep an open mind.
Love it.
Yeah.
What was the hardest thing in business for you?
Cash flow.
Cash flow?
Cash flow, by far. You bleed cash a lot in roofing because you're buying materials, you're supporting your people. And if you don't have a really good accountant who knows what they're doing, you're in trouble. We almost got bankrupt 3-4 months into it.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you get out?
We had a pretty big deal come through at pretty much at the tail end. It was a large insurance claim, hundreds of thousands of dollars. That basically saved us.
Wow.
It was like nick of time. We had pretty much 2 weeks to raise capital, and we either had to throw in more money or get a big deal, and we got a big deal.
Who is your competition? Who do you consider as your competition?
Locally? I think we're playing a game of our own right now in the marketing space for sure. I don't think there's anybody doing as dynamic of stuff that is what we're trying to accomplish. But there's a lot of roofers who I very much respect in our marketplace. River City is one I look up to. Messing Roofing is somebody we compete with often. Landmark Roofing. But from a brand perspective, I haven't really seen any local roofers dancing on camera or eating sardines.
How many estimates people usually get?
Some get 3, some get 2. We want to make it show they just want to work with us. But I think the average, what do you think, Adam? 3 on average?
3 on average?
Yep.
Give me advice.
Work on your craft. I think, I watched a video of yours yesterday. I think you can explain this really well, is that when you get into the construction space, people tend to go wide and not deep, which means they get into roofing and then they say, I'll do siding, windows, I'll do grass clippings, and I'll do carpet, and I'll do woodworking. That's going wide, where you have many services. But it get really, really, really deep on one, where you're an absolute consummate professional on one industry. And I think you'll do much better. The rule is 80% of your income should come from one trade. So get really good at that one trade. Solar, I think, is very easy to add on for roofing companies because it's so intertwined. And if roofing companies know how to install roofs, they should know how to install solar. You're looking for joists. You're looking for setbacks, and roofers are an easy candidate to flip to solar. So it's a very easy transition. Siding is not that way.
No.
It's complicated, and there's a lot of different moving parts. And so be very careful about adding services if you don't know what you're doing.
Do you do a lot of siding or other trades? What else do you do?
I'd say 80% is roofing. We do siding for sure, but not much.
You're not looking for it?
No. If somebody comes to us and has an insurance claim that has more, of course we want to do that. Gutters, of course. But we subcontract that out typically. So.
Okay. Can I get a commitment to answer questions if they have for you?
Of course.
Guys, comment away any questions you have for Ben. I think it was absolutely amazing company tour. One of the coolest, cool office, cool brand, good interview. We're going to sit for his podcast. Check out Roof Tiger podcast, their channel. Good stuff, guys. Check out their website, one of the best websites. I mean, everything you see here is on the website. Like very personal, very branded, good stuff. Like it for Ben. See you guys in the next video.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. That was good.
Yeah, thank you.